Somehow the theme song kind of get to me. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Michael A. Grimm, aka Multi-Voice Reviewer. I have many voices, but one opinion. And today, this is all what you guys been waiting for. So, pretty much, on my next review, I'm gonna be reviewing The Avengers. And of course, The Avengers Age of Ultron. So, it's been quite a while, hasn't it, folks? I mean, I already I told you guys about Iron Man. I told you about the Incredible Hulk, Thor, Captain America, Guardians of the Galaxy, Ant-Man, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, which I have J. Jonah Jameson review it for me, Black Panther, and Captain Marvel, and I was saving the best for last. I've been getting comments of people who kept saying, "Hey, Michael, you forgot Iron Man 2. You forgot the Avengers. You forgot..." Pay attention to my videos, dang it. I mentioned Iron Man 2 and Iron Man 3 on my Iron Man review. And I also mentioned on my Captain America review, I mentioned Winter Soldier and Civil War. Thor, I mentioned the Dark World and Ragnarok. I didn't forget him. I mentioned about him. Pay attention to my reviews, damn it. God. It's like you just skimmed it and just skipped to the next one. It's getting ridiculous. Before you decided to make a complaint, pay attention to my videos before you complain. Anyway, enough about that. Time to talk about the Avengers. Now, of course, according to my Marvel Encyclopedia book, one thing I remembered about the Avengers is that they is of course what the book called them, Earth's mightiest heroes. Now, in the original comics I remembered, it started out with Iron Man, Thor, Hulk, and of course Ant-Man and Wasp, aka Hank Pym. They didn't find and revive Captain America until the later comics. Until like a second or third issue when they think they should bring Captain America in the Avengers. Imagine that. But anyway, after the whole deal with Nick Fury telling man, it's getting a little hot here. I thought it feels pretty cool. Nick Fury telling Tony Stark about the Avengers Initiative from first and the second movie, and of course having Scarlett Johansson, who plays Black Widow, who is known as Natasha Romanoff, which this is her from my encyclopedia, the redhead. The blonde is the one who's going to be explained on her spinoff, known as the Uncompromissive and Deadly, whatever that means. Her story, she started out as a Russian spy until she defected and went to America and started working on Nick Fury. Started working with Nick Fury. And now I know some of you are saying, some of you guys are going to be saying, "Ooh, I love Black Widow because Scarlett Johansson, she's so hot and everything." Well, you guys are going to hate me for this, but I don't find Black Widow interesting. And I know some of you are going to be booing me about that, but, and some of you are going to be saying, what are you talking about? Scarlett Johansson is hot and all that. And I'm like, come on. Give me a break. I know other female Marvel superheroes who are way more attractive than Black Widow, aka Scarlett Johansson. And of course, I don't care how hot Scarlett Johansson looks. I still think of her. She is attractive, she is pretty, but she's crazy. That's one thing I have about her. And, it's just, I'm just not really into Scarlett Johansson. That's about it. But anyway, in the story, it starts out after the Thor movie, the first one, where Stellan Skarsgård, who plays a scientist, he found the test. Nick Fury gave him the Tesseract, and he was using it to open up the doorway. Since it is the Tesseract is the Infinity Stone of space. It works as a teleporter and such. And as he was trying to do some experiments on it and try to use the power of it, bam, it bring back Loki. The same Loki, played by Tom Hiddleston. The same Loki from the first Thor movie. And in the first Avengers, Loki was the big main bad guy in the early years of the Avengers. So pretty much Loki was the big bad in this movie. And there was one character I forgot to mention is, of course, none other than Hawkeye. Now, Hawkeye, he's a sharpshooter. He's good with a bow and arrow. He's like the Marvel version of Green Arrow. And his name is Clint Barton. But when Loki finally showed up in our world, he has this scepter, which not many people know that the scepter he carries has the Infinity Stone of Mind. So every time when he touched people with that scepter of his, he can control them. So pretty much the Infinity Stone of the Infinity Stone of the Mind can control other people mentally. And he's using that to become all-powerful. Now, Nick Fury starts noticing about Loki coming back and controlling Hawkeye and Stellan Skarsgård. Him, Colton, and also Maria Hill, another S.H.I.E.L.D. member, who is like Nick Fury's right-hand woman. Anyway, they both quickly got out of there because Loki decided to collapse this one building that he is in and try to get those that he controlled out of the building before it collapsed. And Nick Fury, he decided to start the Avengers initiative. Now he starts talking to the UN, and they think it's dangerous for him to start the Avengers with a threat like this is happening. And Nick Fury is like, I don't care. It's time to start seeing exactly what they're capable of. So they were like, okay, but be warned. Can't say I didn't warn you. Nick Fury knows what he's doing, and I trust him. When it comes to government and S.H.I.E.L.D., Nick Fury I can trust, because his mind is in the right. Ever since he met Captain Marvel, that's when he decided to start this Avengers initiative, to see that the world can be protected by people who are like Captain Marvel. So, he had Colton go over to talk to Tony Stark. Tony Stark is like, not interested. But his girlfriend Pepper Potts, she got the thing and showed Iron Man, Tony Stark, exactly what they're dealing with. And of course, it's time to start the Avengers initiative by forming a group. and of course, Natasha Romanoff, aka Black Widow, she has to go find Bruce Banner, who is no longer played by Edward Norton, but now it's played by Mark Ruffalo. I always wanted it. I just like doing that. It's really fun. Mark Ruffalo, he's playing Bruce Banner, and he is hiding in India and trying to keep himself calm so he won't turn into the Hulk. And Natasha Romanoff, she starts talking to Bruce Banner and try to get him interested in joining with the Avengers. And this time, nobody from the government, no military, won't be going after him, so he will change into the Hulk. And of course, it's time to have Captain America be the member too. So, Nick Fury walks up to Captain America, who's been boxing on a boxing bag, until he punched a hole through it and knocked it down. So he's getting another boxing bag to replace it. And Nick Fury tries to tell Captain America that they want him, and he's like, I'm not interested. And Nick Fury says, trust me, if you join with me, what I have is something spectacular. $5 says that I can surprise you. And of course, and also Colton told Captain America that he collected all the Captain America trading cards, and he is about ready to have Captain America sign them for him because he really admires Captain America. Anyway, so Bruce Banner met Captain America, and now they were surprised because they were on one of those. They were in those the helicarrier. It looks like one of those kind of ship where everybody lays their jets on, but it turns out it just floated right out of the water and started flying into the sky. So that's why it's called the helicarrier, because it hovers to the sky. And as Captain America got inside the helicarrier, he gave Nick Fury $10. He really did surprise him. And then Tony Stark shows up, and he meets Bruce Banner, and he heard a lot about him. And then he started tasing him to see if he's going to turn into the Hulk out of curiosity. If somebody turns into a giant monster, I wouldn't do something to make him change. I wait until the right time. I don't tinker on something. I mean, it's like putting your finger on a live wire. You never do that. This is where I'm starting to have a huge problem with Tony Stark. I mean, I like him better as a solo superhero, but my problem with him is he's not acting like a team player. Because he's so arrogant and cocky and such. And then when Loki was about ready to control everybody in Paris, I mean not Paris, Germany, he told everybody to kneel before him. And he made copies of himself. And this one old man got up and said, I yield to no one. But as he's about ready to hit him with his cane, blast him with his cane to vaporize him, Captain America shows up with his shield. And then Iron Man shows up in his iron suit. And then they finally captured Loki. And they're about ready to take him to their jet, their Quinjet, ready to take him to the helicarrier. And then all of a sudden they heard a lot of thunder rumbling, and Loki's getting a little scared. And Iron Man is like, "You're afraid of a little lightning?" And he says, "It's not the lightning I fear of." And then out comes Thor showing up, grabbing Loki, knocking everybody out of his way, and take him down to the ground. So he has a little talk. Now, Captain America was like, what the heck just happened? But Tony Stark, he gets on his iron suit and about ready to dive. And here's the famous line that I kind of think it's pretty cool. they asked Tony, they told Tony that they need a plan of attack, and Tony said, I have a plan. Attack! And then, after the argument between Loki and Thor, Iron Man shows up, and they had a bit of a rumble going on until when Iron Man summoned his lightning and fired the lightning out of his Mjolnir right on Iron Man. It didn't destroy Iron Man's suit. It charged him up over about 400% of his energy, and he was like, how about that? And then he fired back at Thor until Captain America shows up with his shield, and when the Mjolnir hits Captain America's shield, it created a huge wave. It pretty much knocked all the trees around them. So, it's up to Captain America to stop the feud. And they told Thor that they need to take Loki to the helicarrier, so he'll be dealt with. And when Loki was taken into the helicarrier, he saw Bruce Banner and just smirk. And when Hawkeye and some of the people that he hypnotized, they start going into the helicarrier, creating some distraction. And of course, it was Loki's plan all along. He's trying to let all the members of the Avengers start fighting against one another in order to make Bruce Banner turn into the Hulk so he can do more damage in the helicarrier. Anyway, at the same time, Loki did a bit of a flashback. Turns out that he went to the area in the galaxy where he meets Thanos, and he meets one of Thanos' cronies called the Other, the same guy that Ronan killed in the beginning of Guardians of the Galaxy. But the Other gave him an army, which is an army of these aliens that are loyal to Thanos, and of course these flying fish things too. And it turns out that Iron Man discovered that he had this all planned all along, trying to make them fight against one another so he can make his escape, so he can have Stellan Skarsgård inside Tony Stark's building to launch a beam in the sky, open up a portal for all those aliens to show up and create problems. So now, it's time for the Avengers to stop being fighting against one another, and Natasha Romanoff, she finally knocked Clint out of his hypnotism by banging his head on the metal rail, and now he finally remembers who he was and what happened. So now, he decided to join the fight with the Avengers. So, they decided to regroup and deal with all these aliens who's been killing people from left and right in the city, who's creating a lot of problems and such. While Stellan Skarsgård, using the Tesseract, opened up the portal, and of course, Tony Stark decided to get off his armor so he can have a talk with Loki in his building. And he says, what you're having there is not a really good plan. Here, care for a drink? And he's just making himself a glass of something. And Loki was like, I have an army at my disposal. And Tony Stark says, we have a Hulk. And then and then after the whole argument going, Loki tries to hypnotize him, but his scepter couldn't get to Tony's chest because of his heart, his mechanical heart that he has on his chest. Not effective. And then all the army shows up and start blasting everybody, and it becomes a huge fight. And now Tony Stark got back to his brand new armor that is more high-tech than his last one. And after they were battling a bunch of people, and of course Captain America tells the cops to get everybody evacuated out of this building right now. And the cops were like, how come? Why do we have to do what you say? And then when he saved their lives from a bunch of aliens showing up, he was like, do what he says now! And then Bruce Banner shows up, feeling really bad what he did, but now it's not the time for forgiveness. It's time to prove himself worthy to become the Hulk and save the town for once. And Captain America says, "Remember, Bruce, you have to get angry." And Bruce Banner says, "That's my gift. I'm always angry." And then you see this whole scene of all the Avenger characters just circling around, going like, and all the monsters going like, ah! And they were all trying to attack one by one, and all this fight goes on and such. And the Hulk. I mean, he is wailing all these monsters, going all. And then after that one hit with that big monster, there was Thor helping him out. And then after that monster was out, Hulk just hits Thor. But anyway, Loki tries. Loki landed. And Hawkeye, he was shooting all of his arrows on his bad guys, and he only has one left. And he sees Loki, so he shoots one arrow at Loki, and Loki, he caught it and going like, "What pathetic weapon." But he didn't know that his arrow exploded, so it exploded right in front of him and landed on Tony Stark's building. And when the Hulk was going after him, he was like, "Stop! I am a god, you foul creature, and I will not be bullied by wow!" And he was like, "Puny god!" While Loki's all, anyway, they're using the scepter to stop the Tesseract and shut off the beam. While at the same time, those UN people were so stubborn. They're not trusting the Avengers. They think they're gonna nuke New York in order to save a lot of people. Saving billions of people, although they destroyed about 1,000 people in New York there. This is why I don't like. This is why I don't like governments and politics. They're nothing but a bunch of judgmental a-holes. They always think what they're doing is right, even though it's wrong. But anyway, back to the thing. All of a sudden, there was. They finally stopped the portal when the nuclear bomb that the government launched. Nick Fury tried to stop him, but there was another jet to distract Fury. So Tony Stark grabbed the missile and aimed it right at the portal on the other side, and it exploded the ship. While Scarlet Witch stopped the beam, and finally the beam shut off. They thought they were going to lose Stark, but it turns out he's still alive. And the Incredible Hulk just jumped up, saved him. And when Thor removed his mask, they thought he was dead. But Hulk was like, "Ah!" And he was like, "Oh, hey, good going. After this, there's a good shawarma place down there. Never tried it. I never tried shawarma myself. I should try it myself. I heard shawarma is good, so I wouldn't mind trying shawarma." Now to the Avengers Age of Ultron. And I'm trying to make it as short as I can. But on Age of Ultron, after Captain America Winter Soldier, turns out that Baron von Strucker, he just has the scepter, and he has two people with superpowers. And they have Quicksilver, played by the same guy who did Kick-Ass. Now, I'm surprised. He's a really good actor, and I was surprised that he plays Quicksilver. But I kind of like the Quicksilver in the X-Men movies better. Just my opinion. It's just too bad that they didn't mention Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch as mutants, because the MCU are not in league with 20th Century Fox yet. Anyway, there was Quicksilver, and also they have the Scarlet Witch. which that's what she looks like in the comics, named Rhonda Maximoff. But one thing I gotta say, that the Scarlet Witch is played by Elizabeth Olsen. I added the hat and the wand because of the Wizard of Oz thing I'm into, but I like Elizabeth Olsen. I mean, I don't care about her twin sisters, the Olsen twins. I mean, I only found them funny, but that's about it. I'm not attracted to them, but I'm more attracted to their younger sister, Elizabeth Olsen. I mean, her performance as a Scarlet Witch, I mean, I loved her character, and I loved everything about her. And of course, after getting that Infinity Stone, Tony Stark decided to do something stupid. He decided to create a robot that he thinks would save the world. And the robot that he created is, of course, Ultron. Now, in the comic books, he was created by Hank Pym, but they're not ready to do Ant-Man yet, so they changed the story, and it's Tony Stark who made him. And Ultron, he becomes a very advanced and very smart machine, but he thinks in order to save the world is to kill so many people. That is a downfall right there. And after that fiasco, and the huge disaster happening there, and of course, much of my surprise, and of course, Ultron wanted he wanted vibranium, the same metal material that Captain America had his shield made out of. Yeah, Captain America's shield was made out of vibranium. But he also meet this guy, Claw, the same bad guy from Black Panther. But of course, he was just a minor character, and of course, explained how he lost his arm and has a mechanical one on the Black Panther movie. But anyway, throughout the whole movie, Scarlet Witch discovered that Ultron is going to become evil. He is evil because they didn't know he was going to kill everybody throughout the whole world, starting with the small village that Strucker started. And of course, also Ultron is planning to create a new body. The Avengers stopped them, got the body, and it turns out that they thought that Ultron destroyed his artificial intelligence Jarvis, but it turns out he only bruised him. He didn't destroy him, and he decided to implant Jarvis inside of this new body that Ultron created. And of course, Captain America and the rest of the team decided to stop Tony for doing this because they think he's creating another Ultron. But Thor, he starts seeing the point of view, and it was like, okay, start. Create this new machine. And this new machine turned out to be Vision. With the Mind Stone in his forehead, he represents all that is good and decent, not evil and benign like Ultron. So now they had to evacuate everybody in the village while they're fighting a whole army of Ultrons and everything. And they were trying to stop this one area to collapse and create a huge Armageddon kind of thing. So when they finally stop Ultron, Scarlet Witch removed his heart out of his chest and completely destroyed him completely. And that was the end of it. And then, and also Quicksilver gets killed, which it's kind of sad though, but I guess if they have two Quicksilvers, one of them have to go. So I guess that, and I still like the Quicksilver from the X-Men. But anyway, that is my review of the Avengers and Age of Ultron. I would have reviewed the Infinity War and Endgames, but that is for my second review because I don't have enough time to do those other two. So if any of you like my review so far, The Avengers, please leave a comment down below, hit like and subscribe. Oh yeah, and at the end of the credits, you see Thanos grabs the Infinity Gauntlet and says, "Very well, I'll do it myself." Which is a lot cooler than that one scene at the first Avengers when you see Thanos going like this. And that's exactly what we're going to be dealing with in my next review, The Avengers, Infinity War, and Endgame. So stay tuned, and Avengers, assemble!